Hello friends, welcome back to the channel. Today is Saturday, May 11th, 2024. About to do a potato harvest, but before we do that, I figured I'd show you the latest addition to the citrus collection. I got it a couple of days ago, and it's over here. And so you see that big box right there? That box is 3 feet, maybe even a little bit more than that, 4 feet. And then it had that long piece of bamboo in there, and then that little small plant was in there, but it's a special one. So the plant came from One Green World. Let me turn it that way where you can see it. And get down here a little closer to it and spin it around. And what we got here is called the Snow Dragon. And if you look closely, you see those are variegated trifoliate. So it's a variegated flying dragon. And so we're going to be growing this one out. We might use some of it for rootstock at someday, but we mainly just got it for an ornamental. We'll get it planted outside here in the yard, right out in the open, and it will have no problems growing around here. But as you can see, even the branches are variegated colored, and it's clearly a flying dragon. You see the curvy branches and the curved thorns, so that's pretty cool. I don't think I ever showed y'all this either. This is actually just a seedling, US 852 seedling. So we've got a few things going on around here with the cold hardy trifoliate that's we're going to be working with. And those are our Changsha and Prague and 10 Degree Tangerine. They're all looking healthy. And right there's our overwintered super hot peppers. I got to get them planted up into something much bigger. And there's 5, only 4 out of the 5 survived. We'll cover that in a future video, but let's get over here to the potatoes. Well, as we're walking past the Trevita orange, we might as well take a quick look at it. You can see some of those oranges are starting to size up in here. That's one of the bigger ones right there. Still, you know, got plenty of growing to do. And here's the onions. They're looking nice. Some of those are really starting to bulb up nicely. So there you see that's getting pretty big. This one next to it, instead of bulbing up into one bulb, it turned into a bunch of small bulbs. That was one of those sets that I had saved from the stuff I'd grown from seed. And behind it is that cherry tomato that was a volunteer. And I've made the deduction it must have been from the super sweet 100s. I've gotten a couple of small tomatoes off of it. Oops, I just broke that, so the rest of those ain't gonna ripen well, but they're good tomatoes. But as you can see, the in-ground potatoes, they're done. Sit right there on the end. That one's still looking pretty healthy. These are completely expired. And so on here, we got Red Norland, Yukon Gold, and then Russets on the end. And those are on the end are grocery store potatoes. So this was a little bit of an experiment to see if it made a difference, because those grocery store potatoes are way cheaper than these seed potatoes. And as you can see, the seed potatoes succumb to the disease and whatnot before the grocery store potatoes. I guess we'll just have to see what the harvest is like when we start digging them up. But the other row is exactly the same. Now the ones in our containers, they're all looking pretty much about the same, but those down there are the grocery store potatoes, and the one on the very last bucket is just scraps. I think the last part of this row is scraps. And then these are the seed potatoes, the red and then the Yukon Gold. And you see we got some more tomatoes planted in those containers over there. We'll cover that at some point once we actually start seeing some tomatoes growing. But I'm gonna get the camera set up, and what I'm gonna do is come here on the side with a shovel. And I don't have a potato rake, but except for those handheld versions right there. So I'm gonna use a shovel to lift up some of the soil first, and then we'll just see what we get. So let me get the camera turned around. All right, let's see how that works. I'm not sure how much of a difference there'll be in the sound from the first part of the video in this part, because I didn't use a mic in the first part, but it shouldn't be that much different. I figured I was going to be further away from the camera, so I'm going to need the mic. So let me get the shovel, and I'm just going to lift the soil here next to these mounds a little bit before I start digging around. I'm going to pull this out of my way. That right there, the shovel sitting right here. I'm going to start down here on this end, and I'm going to work my way back towards the camera. I'm just going to get out here, and I'm just going to lift the soil a little bit. Hopefully I don't go through no potatoes. I believe I'm going through a tree root, because the tree line is right there, and I think that's what I'm hitting there, not potatoes. We just had to see in a minute. Let me go all the way down, and I might even lift it up on the other side as well. Just have to. This is why I kind of like the buckets a little bit better. Now, the man with a slightly better harvest probably from the in-ground. We'll just have to see, but you see the buckets are still going. And I didn't actually hill up anything. That might have been a mistake. You just have to see what we end up with down here. As you can see right there, that plant is clearly looking pretty good as far as nice and green. And then the ones back here from the seed potatoes, they're pretty much perished. So just had to see. Yeah, I think the fact that we got tree roots coming in here, it certainly isn't helping any. But hopefully we didn't get none of our potatoes with this shovel. Now I think I just need to get down here, start digging by hand. Probably should go get the little basket for the potatoes. Let me do that. Y'all can just hold on 1 second. Get right in here. All right, coming back now. I got a basket for the potatoes. You can get some utensils here, tools, shovel, hand shovel, and some little potato rake. Like I already see one right here, which I mentioned in another video. I saw it when it rained, and it actually got uncovered, and I just threw a clump of dirt back on it, and that's right there. So, and I was able to get that soil on there before it started turning green or anything. There's another little tiny one. Let's just lift down in here, try to pull it up by that. All right, there's one. Here's our old rotten seed potato. Let's try to get that out of here. Oop. So it fell off the plant. Old rot. There's a seed potato right there. Probably should have had something for that. It's unrolled way down there. All right, let me kind of poke around in this soil right here and just see if we left anything behind. See the edge of one right there. I think we're here. This is the very edge of the bed. So, I see one right there, another smaller one. And so that's the thing about growing them in the ground. You really kind of have a chance of leaving some behind if you don't look close enough. Let's see what's in this next spot. Oh, there's a couple smaller ones here. So far we hadn't broke any records, but we've got some potatoes. And so they typically, you don't find any below the seed potatoes. They're like right at the same level or above them. And there's pretty much no way to harvest potatoes without digging them up. So I know you might hear a lot about no dig. Well, I mean, it's really low dig. You dig that's at least how I look at it. I dig as little as I have to, but that's just as much about trying not to do any more work than I need to as anything else. But to get potatoes up, you're gonna have to dig. To plant a tree, you're gonna have to dig. So I mean, there's times you just got to dig. That's some roots that I'm gonna have to work on from the trees. All right. Well, we got a few potatoes, nothing great so far. Just keep moving along. We didn't get skunked, we know that, so I'm gonna be happy with what we get for sure. More red. So I don't remember exactly how many I put of each. I think I might have put like 2 or 3 of the red up in here. That's probably back the seed potato right there again. Probably be in this little clump. It hadn't completely deteriorated away. Yeah, there's another red. All right, now we're starting to get toward the gold because I got one small gold. There's a tree root again. And that's the problem with being close to the tree line over there. Tree roots are always trying to get in your garden. So that's part of the reason I went with the raised beds. Not that they won't end up trying to get up in there as well, but what it is. So it's funny how that yellow one made it way over there, but we're still getting red back this way. A couple more small ones. Hopefully we didn't leave nothing behind, but my guess is we'll find that we left something behind. It's just how it works when you're growing potatoes in ground. You just can't help it. So these in ground potatoes were planted on February 4th. Today is May 11th, so that's like 97 days it's been. All of them, I think it is. Keep going. Little red, tiny red one. Gold. Small one though. Another gold, so I think we're getting to the gold now. Looks like they ain't quite as far over as where I'm digging at the moment. There's another red found its way back that direction, but we're definitely into the gold because I saw that was still connected to that. Goal so far has just been a couple tiny ones. There's another red. I'm certain we'll miss some. Certain of it. Just nearly impossible not to in the ground. Yeah, there's a couple other tiny ones. Yeah, we keep finding little tiny ones when we go back through. So we need to use this a little more, huh? Seems to be revealing some to us. Of course, that root growing through here don't help us. All right. There's another gold. The real interesting thing is going to be how these in-grounds stack up to the ones in the buckets, but we're not ready to harvest those. They're clearly lasted longer. So this one here, the Yukon Gold, this plant itself, was still alive, and it's giving us a good handful of potatoes there. Starting to catch up with the red now, trying to anyway. See the seed potatoes right in there. Let's get rid of that. Little tiny tater dot. Yeah, digging through the soil when it's in ground, it's a lot more work. See, but the one fun thing about growing potatoes is you don't know what you got till you start digging, and sometimes you get a big surprise, and sometimes, well, might be a little disappointed. But I'm already okay with what we got, and now am I gonna say it was the greatest in the world? No, but honestly, we didn't do a lot of work. Put them in the ground, watered them occasionally when they looked rough, but even then we probably didn't water them enough. It might have made it longer if we had a water them a little bit more. But if you're growing them just because you think you're going to be growing potatoes to save money, that's probably not going to work out for you. If you're growing them because you just like to grow your own food, and well, you don't really hear it as much about potatoes. I believe even potatoes taste better when you're growing them yourself. Now, it might just be psychological, but they're fresher. So I'm gonna go in here and cook these potatoes probably within the next day or two, maybe even tonight. Who knows? We'll see. Don't have any fresh green beans, but that's all right. We can make do with what we got. Canned green beans and fresh potatoes is better than nothing. So now here we are into our dreaded friends, the fire ants. That ain't helping us none. That makes it hard to harvest. So let's see what we can do. Work around these fools. That is not good. We're gonna have to try to deal with them when we get done with this. But now I know we'll leave some here because these fire ants ain't gonna let us get them all. But I guess it was probably a good time to get them because if we waited much longer, fire ants had probably took them from us. Let's just see. Guess we aren't going to try to edit this too much. You'll actually see how long it takes to do this, and then when we do our potatoes that we got growing in the bucket, you'll see how much easier it is and quicker. But there, that's another goal. So we still ain't had any of our russets yet from the grocery store potatoes. We should be able to tell the difference when we get to those. Should look completely different than these, I would think. Dad burn fire ants are a problem all over the South, here included. Which I grew up in South Florida, and we always had to deal with fire ants when I was growing up, but I don't think they've always been around here. I think that's been in the past 20 years or maybe even less that they started becoming a thing around here. Fire ants definitely don't want me here. They're eating me up a little bit, but might have made it through them. Hopefully they're running the other way. Should start seeing some russets now. Must be through the gold, I would think. Them fire ants will start going up your pant leg, and then I'll be in trouble. So I better change my position a little bit. Move this out our way. We're gonna get any russet from the store-bought potatoes. All we're gonna get it. We'll just have to see. These tree roots, man, awful. That was clear the store-bought potato, because you can see this was one that was the slices. So I don't believe any of those are any of the russets. Really don't. So don't look like they gave us anything. Of course, they still had some life left in them. Gave us one. Actually, it did give us one little tiny potato right there. Unless something's lost in there. We'll just have to see what the other row gives us. And actually, I might go and look at them gold again. The last couple I got could have been russets. They're about the same color, but I do think the skins are a little rougher. But yeah, I don't see nothing else. Well, that's it for that row. I'll bring the whole thing closer to the camera. You can see what we got. I'm certain that little tiny one right there in the middle, I put there in the middle, is a russet. But I think the rest, that might be a russet too. And that one, that's probably it. The rest look like Yukon Go. So yeah, let me bring that, see what we got out of the first row. And y'all get to see it. And you can see we got we got potatoes. And it looks like these were the only ones we got from the grocery store, potatoes in that row anyhow. So let's move closer to this next row. Well, move my little basket. So I think I'll leave it right here. It's mostly in the shade. And I think I'm going to try to bring y'all a little bit closer to me so y'all can see what I'm doing. See how that works. There's our shovel. We got to do the same thing on this row down here. We did. The first row. Yeah, y'all be able to see me. I think y'all might be a little bit crooked. I might try to straighten y'all out just a little bit. See if I can do that first, and then we'll go from there. See how that works. That should work pretty good. Be a long one, so if you're interested in how many potatoes you can get in a little small 5-foot long strip, then you're sticking around. Just hopefully you are. These we did heal a little bit better, but I don't know that we'll do any better potato wise. Probably about the same. Be all right. Hopefully we haven't stabbed any of our potatoes doing this. And again, I think I'll go down this other side at least a little bit. Let's see what we get. Start right here at the very end, like we did before. First red. See there's the seed potato right there. Another small red, just tiny one. All right. A few more small ones. And gather up as much of them as we can, and then carry them over there to the basket. Trying to keep them out of the sun over there, because you don't want your potatoes exposed to the sun no more than you can help, because when they're in the sun they start turning green, and that ain't good. They're supposedly not too healthy for you. So I'd rather be safe than sorry. Saw a little tiny potato in there that I'll end up not getting because it's in the ground. Just not going to see it. There it is. Oh, I saw one. But we're getting a decent little amount of reds over here. There's several that want to form, but just never were able to before plants got succumbed to disease. You could tell they were having problems because they started getting spots on them. Potatoes are out that way a little more than I kind of expected them to be. Get through that first little part of it is a little bit better because I have a place to sift through your dirt, then your soil. And some people are peculiar about whether it's dirt or soil. I'm not that. Anyway, yeah, we got us a harvest anyway, right? We're still getting reds. Yep, still red. See the potatoes right now. So I chopped that potato in half with the shovel. That was a casualty. So the potatoes were growing a little bit further that way than I kind of expected them to be. All right, that's okay. Won't be surprised if we don't chop another one. That was a gold, so go ahead and take all these red out. Can't get them all in one handful. That. That. And there's that one right there I chopped. It's supposed to be, that was a halfway decent potato. Wash it, it still can be eaten. Just can't be stored. That's the only thing wrong with it. We just won't store it. Fine by me, because I'm ready for some fresh potatoes. So, I have a whole bunch of other things I need to be doing around here, but if I put those on video, I'm definitely going to have to make that a different one. So here's a couple more reds. I guess where the plants were getting close to each other, it's a little intermingling. The reds kind of spread out a little bit. Again, tree roots kind of got in the way. That, I'm sure that didn't help. There's a nice gold, but at least we got to the potatoes and we actually got some, and it didn't rot on us, because that could have easily happened too. You just don't know. Can't count your harvest before it's ready. I guess it's like the whole saying about chickens before they hatch. You see fruit on your fruit trees, that don't mean they're gonna size up and give you a fruit. They could easily drop. Okay, everything could be looking nice, and next thing you know, decides it don't want to be on there no more. This time with the potatoes anyway. A decent harvest anyhow. The only way you could get like something probably better than what we're getting here though anyway, you'd have to be willing to put a lot more into it, like pumping it with fertilizer and all that, and we just didn't do that. We put potatoes in the ground and let them grow. We gave them a little bit of fertilizer at the beginning. We didn't, they're not on no kind of irrigation, and just didn't put a lot of effort into it. We try to do things with the least amount of input as possible, because right now I have a whole other full-time job away from here, so it takes up most of my time. So I think it's going to be a little difficult maybe to tell the difference between those russets and the gold, but I'm fairly certain we're still in the gold. That was the seed potato that we started with. Which, if you watch the video, some of them seed potatoes were huge. So, I mean, I'm not sure the return was that great. But if the grocery store potatoes don't give you any potatoes, yeah, that ain't good either. So, let's see, we're getting down there. We still got a little more to go. Said, because these are ingrained, we will leave something behind. It's just pretty much guaranteed. We planted these potatoes a few weeks early, probably about 6 weeks early at least, when we normally should. Now that right there is a russet, I'm going to say for sure. We're into the grocery store potatoes, so hopefully this row did a little bit better. That was a gold though. Of course, we started getting into the ants the closer we got to the russets over there, so that could have been some of the problem with us not getting much happening over there. And I think we ran out of whole ones, and so we only had those little tiny scraps down there, and that could have been part of it too, but we'll just have to see. Like that, hard as it is, could very well be the seed potato though. Maybe not. It's awfully solid. And I see a lot of tiny little, so that's the thing with this russet variety. I think it needs more time. It seemed to have a lot more that were not formed that we're starting to, but then again, it's a little hard to tell them from the russets. Probably not when you cook them as much, I bet. Maybe not even when they start drying out a little more. But I do see a lot more small ones, like real tiny little dots that would have been some potato if they had more time, maybe. Let's see. It's hard not to leave something behind. I hope we're not missing a big one somewhere, because I have found some really big ones before that I was like, I don't know how you missed that one. But we're almost to the end of the line. We got one little spot more that we could get a couple more little potatoes out of. We'll see. Tinky. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see what we end up with out of the buckets, considering we didn't do too good with the store-bought potatoes here in the ground. So they look nice and healthy. But again, I may be just having a little bit of trouble telling the store-bought potatoes apart from the other potato. Was our seed potato? It had to be. Get all the potatoes in the basket, and I'll bring them up there a little closer, let y'all see them. We're going to end the video because this is probably going to be one of our longer videos here in recent times. So it's all right. Yeah, this has turned out. Once you pile them in here, that's not too bad. Like a decent sack of potatoes right there. And that's it. We're done. So let me come a little closer. Y'all can see what I got. And hopefully it's not turn that down like that. Maybe they can see them good. So there you go. That's our in-ground potato harvest for 2024, at least for spring 2024. And it's not too bad. We still got our buckets to go. Looks like they may have a couple more weeks in them. But thank y'all for watching. Like, subscribe, and share. And enjoy your day.